A $270 tennis racket can cost as little as $35 to manufacture. That markup isn't funding better graphite or revolutionary technology. It's funding a brand machine. Today, we're exposing 5 tennis racket brands that are absolutely robbing you blind and revealing 5 that are actually worth your money. If any of these are sitting in your tennis bag, it might be time to reconsider your purchases. Let's go over the brands draining your wallet. Number 10. Lacoste. The fashion label that proves the logo tax is alive and well in the tennis world. The Lacoste L20 and L23 series routinely retail for $279 to over $300, marketed to weekend warriors as the ultimate country club luxury. But underneath that elegant paint job, the engineering tells a completely different story. Lacoste does not design or manufacture modern tennis rackets. In 2017, Lacoste's parent company acquired an 80% stake in the French equipment manufacturer Technofiber. Today, Lacoste literally takes standard mid-tier Technofiber molds, complete with the exact same anti-vibration technology found in a $199 Technofiber TFX1, and simply rebrands them. They run it through the same factory lines, insert a vibration dampener originally sketched out by René Lacoste decades ago, slap a rubber crocodile on the throat, and hike the price up by almost $100. The manufacturing cost remains virtually identical to its cheaper sibling, with industry estimates placing mass factory production well under $40. The massive gap between what you pay and what you get is entirely absorbed by licensing, retail markups, and a lifestyle marketing budget that outpaces the cost of the actual graphite. The result? You are swinging a racket engineered for a much lower price bracket, artificially inflated to sit behind a velvet rope. You are not buying a premium leap in racket innovation. You are paying a massive premium strictly for a polo shirt logo stitched into the collective memory of the country club. Number 9. Head. A masterclass in how fake science and relentless release cycles are used to drain your wallet. Every 24 months, Head releases the next generation of their flagship Speed, Radical, and Boom lines for a premium $259 to $269 price tag. To justify this constant churn, their marketing department relies on a predictable cycle of sci-fi-sounding boardroom buzzwords. First, they sold us Graphene in 2013, which magically turned into Graphene XT, then Graphene Touch, Graphene 360, Graphene 360 Plus Auxetic, and now Auxetic 2.0. But here is the uncomfortable truth that independent stringers and customizers know well. The core graphite molds of these rackets almost never change. Auxetic 2.0 is largely nothing more than a marginal carbon layup tweak in the yoke, the throat of the racket. The measurable difference in playability for a mid-handicapper is virtually non-existent. Head pours millions of dollars into global advertising campaigns and tour contracts to convince you that your perfectly good, mechanically identical 2-year-old racket is suddenly obsolete. The moment the new model drops, the previous version hits the clearance rack at a 40% discount, despite delivering the exact same performance on the court. They treat tennis equipment like smartphones, forcing a cycle of planned obsolescence based entirely on a marketing illusion. You are not buying a revolutionary leap in structural engineering or a magically larger sweet spot. You are paying a $260 premium for this year's adjective and a fresh coat of paint. Number 8. The Wilson Pro Staff. The ultimate heritage trap that trades entirely on your ego and the ghost of a legend. Carrying a steep price tag of $279 to nearly $300, Wilson uses the legacy of Roger Federer to sell the heavy RF97 autograph model to 40-year-old weekend warriors who desperately want to look the part. But here is the physical reality that Wilson's marketing department conveniently ignores. The RF97 autograph weighs a massive 340 grams unstrung. Once you add strings, a dampener, and an overgrip, you are swinging a 355-gram brick with a swing weight pushing north of 335. A racket this heavy demands world-class footwork, flawless kinetic chain mechanics, and elite racket head speed just to maneuver it on time. 95% of recreational players simply do not have the physical mechanics to handle this static weight. Instead of helping you hit like a 20-time Grand Slam champion, it forces late contact, framed balls, and severe wrist and elbow fatigue. Wilson is charging top dollar for a highly demanding tour-level stick that actively ruins the technique of the amateurs buying it. The bulk of what you pay goes toward the nostalgic red and black branding and the celebrity licensing fee. You are not buying precision or heritage. You are paying a $280 ego tax for a nostalgic paint job that actively makes you play worse on the court. Number 7. Babolat. The brand that perfected the endorsement illusion, selling you massive power while quietly breaking your arm. When you buy a $259 Pure Aero or Pure Drive, Babolat's marketing machine, fueled by tens of millions of dollars in contracts with Carlos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal, promises you will magically unlock heavy topspin and baseline dominance. But here is the dirtiest secret in the tennis industry. The pros do not use the retail rackets sitting on the shelf at your local pro shop. Elite players use what are called pro stock frames. Nadal famously uses an original 2005 Aero Pro Drive mold heavily customized with lead tape and silicone, which is then given a fake paint job to look exactly like the new $259 release. Meanwhile, the retail version of the Pure Drive you actually buy is incredibly stiff, carrying a stiffness rating, or AH, of 71 to 72. In racket manufacturing, anything over 68 is considered highly rigid. Stringers and physical therapists know the retail Pure Drive as one of the leading contributors to lateral epicondylitis, commonly known as tennis elbow. Its thick hollow construction transfers maximum shock directly to your wrist and forearm on every single off-center impact. The millions Babolat spends on global endorsements are baked directly into the price of your frame. You are not buying the racket Carlos Alcaraz actually plays with. You are funding his multi-million-dollar contract while paying for your own future medical bills. Number 6. The Big Box Aluminum Trap. The master of the perpetual markdown disguised by household names like Head or Wilson. You walk into a giant sporting goods store or a Walmart and see a shiny Head TIS6 or a Wilson Tour Slam sitting on a clearance end cap. The tag screams that it has been discounted from $120 down to $50 or $60 packaged in a premium-looking plastic half cover. It looks like an incredible entry-level deal, but the reality is pure robbery. These rackets are not made from the premium carbon fiber or graphite used in true performance frames. They are constructed from cheap extruded O-beam aluminum alloy or a fused titanium aluminum blend. The actual manufacturing cost for these frames in mass production Chinese factories is estimated at under $6 per unit. The strings pre-installed by the factory are bottom-tier, ultra-thick nylon that cost the brand literally pennies, offering zero feel and zero spin. Aluminum bends, warps under string tension, and retains massive hollow vibration that travels straight up your arm like a tuning fork. The fake MSRP only exists so the brand can permanently slash it, creating the illusion of a bargain. They exist solely to steal money from uneducated beginners relying on a familiar logo. You are not buying an entry-level tennis racket. You are buying a $5 piece of extruded metal marketed as a 50% discount. That covers the 5 biggest robberies in tennis right now. But before we get into the brands that actually respect your money and deliver real engineering, I want to hear from you. Have you ever bought a $260 racket just because Roger or Rafa used it, only to realize it felt like swinging a brick? Drop your biggest tennis gear regret, or the racket you are currently swinging, in the comments down below. I read every single one. Alright, let's get to the good stuff. Let's go over the brands actually worth your money. Number 5. Yonex. The Japanese giant that proves true quality control still exists in an industry obsessed with outsourcing. While massive Western conglomerates farm out their mass production to third-party OEM factories across China, where two supposedly identical 300-gram frames can routinely differ in weight by up to 7 to 10 grams right off the shelf, Yonex takes a completely different path. Every premium adult racket in the Izun, Vior, and Percept lines is manufactured entirely within Yonex's own privately owned facilities in Niigata, Japan. When you pay $259 for a Yonex frame, you are investing in an unyielding, almost psychotic level of precision. They utilize raw, high-modulus Japanese graphite, often integrating advanced non-carbon technology directly into the shaft for reliable flex and snapback. Because they control the manufacturing from the raw carbon sheet to the final paint job, their manufacturing tolerances are the tightest in the sport. There is no fake MSRP, no massive licensing gap, and no outsourced corner cutting. You are paying for actual skilled artisans and engineers, ensuring that the racket in your hand plays exactly like the specifications printed on the throat. In a market flooded with mass-produced inconsistencies, Yonex delivers absolute transparency. You are not buying a massive marketing budget. You are paying for the gold standard of modern racket manufacturing. Number 4. Artengo by Decathlon. The direct-to-consumer disruptor that mathematically proves exactly how massive the industry logo tax really is. In a market where premium frames regularly push toward the $300 mark, the Artengo TR960 Control Tour arrives with a retail price of just $120 to $140. To the untrained eye, this looks like a budget department store compromise, but the reality is staggering. Decathlon is a vertically integrated sports giant. They design the racket, oversee manufacturing, and sell it directly through their own massive global supply chain. This structure completely eliminates the severe wholesale and third-party retail markups that traditional brands are forced to pass down to the buyer. And do not mistake this for a beginner's toy. The TR960 is the exact frame endorsed and played with on the ATP Tour by Gael Monfils. Underneath the paint, you are getting genuine high-modulus carbon fiber and a mass polarization optimization system engineered for elite torsional stability. The cost-to-retail ratio is flawless. They do not spend $40 million a year on global ad campaigns or glossy magazine spreads, meaning every single dollar you spend goes directly into the graphite in your hand. Artengo strips away the industry's pricing illusion, proving that a $280 racket from the big brands is largely just a $140 racket saddled with a massive marketing tax. You are buying elite, tour-level performance at absolute wholesale honesty. Number 3. ProKennex. The quiet innovator that abandons fake marketing buzzwords in favor of genuine medical-grade physics. While other brands spend their time inventing new sci-fi adjectives every 2 years to sell you a fresh coat of paint and a stiff, hollow frame, ProKennex has dedicated its existence to solving the single biggest physical problem in the sport, lateral epicondylitis. Priced securely between $190 to $220, the Kinetic series, including the Key Black Ace and Q Plus Tour, features a patented technology that actually works. Instead of relying on a cheap piece of rubber in the handle, ProKennex bakes literal chambers into the frame itself and fills them with microbearings, essentially acting as kinetic mass. Upon impact with the ball, these bearings shift forward dynamically, actively absorbing and canceling out the violent shockwave before it ever has the chance to travel down the shaft and into your forearm. The science is so verifiable that ProKennex remains the only racket brand in the world consistently recommended by orthopedic surgeons and physical therapists for players suffering from severe arm pain. They do not spend tens of millions sponsoring teenagers on the Pro Tour. They do not rely on flashy celebrity endorsements or yearly release gimmicks. They dump their entire budget into applied physics and structural engineering. When you purchase a ProKennex, you are not buying a status symbol to show off at the local club. You are investing in a verified physiological insurance policy for your arm and the longevity of your game. Number 2, Solinco, the honest pricing challenger that built an empire on performance before ever asking you to buy a frame. For years, Solinco dominated the elite collegiate and professional string markets with their legendary Hyper-G green polyester string, silently building immense brand loyalty through sheer, undeniable reliability. When they finally decided to enter the racket manufacturing space with the Whiteout and Blackout series, they refused to adopt the bloated pricing models of their competitors. Retailing at an incredibly honest $219 to $220, Solinco intentionally prices their premium frames $40 to $50 below the mainstream giants. But this lower price tag does not reflect a drop in quality, it reflects a refusal to inflate margins. These rackets are constructed using premium 40T carbon fiber and feature actual liquid crystal technology injected directly into the core to dampen vibration. Furthermore, their frames feature high-density foam filling, an expensive, meticulous engineering step that many of the largest conglomerates abandon to save money on mass production, leaving you with a hollow stick that pings on impact. Solinco does not artificially inflate their MSRPs just to run fake holiday sales. They do not force arbitrary 2-year release cycles on their player base just to push old inventory. You are getting a heavy-duty, tour-quality frame that is trusted heavily by elite Division I college programs across the country, delivered at a price that respects your wallet. It is a masterclass in fair margins, proving that top-tier engineering does not require a luxury markup or a corporate logo tax. Number 1, Angel Tennis. The absolute anti-corporate champion and the undisputed $4 master of the entire tennis industry. Founded by Paul Angel, the former lead racket design engineer for Dunlop, this brand operates entirely outside the traditional bloated retail machine. There are no pro shop markups, no celebrity endorsement taxes, and absolutely no fake pro stock paint jobs. Angel operates strictly as a direct-to-consumer custom builder. When you order an Angel Custom TC Series frame, you do not just buy a generic racket off a shelf, you engineer it. You go to their website and personally select your exact unstrung weight, your exact balance point, your preferred grip shape, and even the specific race stiffness rating of the graphite. For roughly $200 to $240, they build the racket to your precise, uncompromising specifications out of high modulus carbon and pure foam-filled cores and ship it directly to your door. This completely destroys the illusion of the professional tour. You no longer have to buy a $260 mass-produced retail racket and then take it to an expensive customizer to add lead tape and silicone just to make it playable. Angel builds it perfectly out of the box. No massive corporate overhead, no marketing fantasies, just raw, transparent engineering delivered directly from the designer to the player. For anyone who truly understands the mechanics of the sport and refuses to be robbed blind, this is where the search for the perfect frame ends. Across all 10 brands, one reality is clear. In the tennis world, you are either funding a marketing fantasy or investing in genuine engineering. The difference is not subtle. It is the gap between paying for a painted logo and paying for lasting value. Choose substance over status and make every dollar count. But listen, even if you buy from the good brands on this list, you can still buy the wrong model for your specific swing. Click the video on your screen right now where I expose the 10 tennis rackets only dumb amateurs buy. Don't walk onto the court with a target on your back. I'll see you over there.